For our first story, the Member of Parliament's Finance Committee and also the Member of Parliament for Bolga Central, Isaac Dongo, says a future NDC government will return the assets of the collapsed Ghanaian banks to their shareholders once they go to court. While speaking at a forum on the banking crisis by the Policy Analysis Monitoring Center here in Accra, Mr. Dongo said the injustice being meted out to indigenous banks by the central bank would be reversed if the NDC returned to power. Komaladum has more on the story.
From today, those who keep going around saying that they gave taxpayers money to Capital Bank and directors stole that money, themselves must be rendering the biggest apology to the people of Ghana for misleading all of us as to the true reasons why these banks have collapsed. I want to advise anybody who is in possession of that Boulders Advisors report to look for the nearest dustbin. Not just to put it inside, but to supervise its evacuation to the nearest landfill site. It is the most useless piece of work. It is the most useless share of national cake to friends.
Member of Parliament for Bolga Central and member of the Finance Committee of Parliament did not mince words in his description of a Boulders report which formed the basis for the collapse of the banks as bogus. He said a future NDC government will return the assets of the collapsed banks to their shareholders if they head to court.
And I want to assure the people of Ghana an NDC government have more foresight and will protect Ghanaian determination. We will ensure, and I will not mince words, if any investor that feels hard done by this marauding armed robbers goes to court to seek the return of their assets in an NDC era, we will gladly return to them the injustices that they have suffered. And so they should wait. If these people refuse, they should come to us at appropriate time, unless they can prove that these people are complicit in any matter.
He challenged the Bank of Ghana to make public the true reasons why they rendered the banks insolvent.
I hope that by the end of this exercise, the governor of the central bank will come out of the hole that he's in to give us assurance beyond telling us that our deposits are safe. We have heard that long enough. He should come and give us the policy steps and clear guidelines and timelines that he's going to implement in order to calm the market, restore confidence, and have a...
For our next story, let's head to the courts, where government has formally withdrawn a motion to dissolve the Ghana Football Association, but says it is not abandoning the criminal prosecution of those implicated in the expose on the country's football by Anas Aremeyaw Anas. The investigative piece by the journalist saw the association's president resigning. Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame on Tuesday told an Accra High Court government has reached an agreement with World Football governing body FIFA on how to reform football administration. Here's some more in the following report.
Government following the screening of the number 12 documentary, which made damning revelations about officials in Ghana football, including FA President Kwesi Nyantakyi, went to the High Court in June to seek an injunction against the association. The injunction, which was successful, restrained all officials of the football governing body from performing their functions. It later appointed a Registrar General as the official liquidator. Government subsequently engaged FIFA on the matter, reaching a resolution that a normalization committee would be set up. The decision to abandon the dissolution of the FA is a direct outcome of the Swiss meeting. Justice Samuel Esiedu granted the request and also ordered that all assets belonging to the GFA be returned. The deputy AG told journalists government is satisfied with the outcome.
Well, the investigations are ongoing, and I do not think that we have to push the investigative bodies to arrive at it. They do things in accordance with their procedures and law. And further to that, FIFA and government of Ghana agreed to set up a special task force, as I indicated. It's not just a composition of the normalization committee that we agreed on. The Ghana government, the FIFA and CAF also agreed to set up a joint special task force, and that will have the responsibility of reviewing the disciplinary mechanisms available for football now, and to assess the conduct of all the persons caught in the announced video, to indeed go beyond the announced video and set up proper disciplinary structures for bringing to book persons caught to have engaged in these infractions and all. And where the infractions border on a violation of the domestic laws of Ghana. For example, if a person takes money and is clearly seen to be in a way as to border on the commission of a crime as stealing, fraud, and what have you, that person will be sanctioned in accordance with the domestic laws of Ghana.
It's however not clear how soon the normalization committee will be set up to enable football activities to resume.
Well, away from the courts, the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners says government should bear the cost of moving excavators to designated sites as proposed in the roadmap to lift the ban on small-scale mining in Ghana. The association says after the 18-month drought, members could hardly bear the cost of conveying excavators for tracking devices to be fixed on them. Here is Kingsley Otu's report.
On August 16, 2018, the Interministerial Committee outlined government's roadmap towards lifting the ban on illegal mining in the country.
1, we are going to direct that all excavators be brought to designated areas in all the regions, and the regional ministers will make sure that this is done. Withdraw all military and paramilitary forces from the ground, and Operation Vanguard will be the only force that will be in the mining concession.
But speaking at a press conference to highlight their position on the roadmap, General Secretary of the Small Scale Miners Association, Godwin Ama, said tracking the excavators is not the solution to the illegal mining menace, adding government should bear the cost of moving the excavators to a central location for the tracking devices to be installed.
Tracking of excavators, to me personally, will not solve the problem, because when those is within the roadmap, like my colleague said, the roadmap says every big excavator should move from the mining area to a location that has been designated by government. Who is going to bear the cost after sitting at home for 18 months? So the alternative that we gave was what? Once the person has been vetted and is working, you can fix those devices there, instead of we sending the excavators to that location, because the cost implication will be very, 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 very distinct for us, because the cost of one excavator to and fro with the low bed, the minimum we are looking at 5,000 cedis. And if the person is having about 2 and 3 and he has not worked for more than 18 months, and you say the person should bear that cost.
According to the General Secretary, members of the association cannot continue to sit idle, but are poised on exposing politicians and traditional leaders involved in the illegal mining business in the country.
Everyone has the capacity to expose, you know. If you watch in the president's address, he says we should be what? Citizens, not spectators. You shouldn't sit on the fence. Anyone, the law is clear. If you want to do mining, get the required licenses, then you operate. So if you're a politician and you go in illegally, it's not because you're a politician, the law will be different from your end. The association will ensure that we expose any politician or any traditional person who operates illegally or supports illegality in the mining space.
They urged government to quicken the process of vetting and verifying licenses to enable them resume work as proposed by the roadmap. Kingsley Otu's report for JoyNews.
Now, before we go, here's one to ponder. The tendency for sections of society to project women, sometimes in a very demeaning manner, remains a major global concern. Exploitation of women as sex objects, especially in music and the arts, is getting worse by the day, heightened by mainstream and social media. A female artist at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology is exploring how she can use her ingenuity to reverse this trend. Now, as the world dedicates this week to women's equality, Love FM's Kwesi Deborah speaks with Priscilla Kennedy of the Department of Painting and Sculpture.
Naked women in music videos is commonplace in the 21st century. The least talked about lyrics, the better. A 2008 study on lyrics of popular music identifies power over, objectification of, and violence against women as overall agenda. 6 themes came out: men and power, sex as top priority for males, objectification of women, sexual violence, women defined by having a man, and women as not valuing themselves. Sheikh Zakaria Sibawe is at the Department of Religious Studies, KNUST.
Most often people want to advertise a good car, a good mobile phone, a good product, and all they need to have is to have a beautiful woman using that product or standing by that product. So that commercialization of the woman's body maybe is what is leading to this kind of maybe abuse of women. I would call it abuse, you know. And the abuse is not only in the media. Sometimes the abuse is, as you said, in film, you know, in the film industry, or perhaps in our tabloid newspapers, you know, and other places where generally we can call them, they are under the broad classification of media, but different aspects of it. In music, for instance, every good song, you know, that people produce, and they want to have a video clip of it. At the end of the day, it is women who are shaking their bottoms.
Sculptor Priscilla Kennedy has been pushing this argument further, stitching naked female bodies onto Islamic male scarf, kafiyeh.
As an artist, I managed to blend my interest with my practice and the issues I wanted to discuss concerning gender stereotypes. In my works, I believe that two entities couldn't exist in a particular space unless one surfaces the other. So there would be some kind of disguise and then concealment. So I bring two different genders together in a piece to make one surface the other. In the sense of bringing female visibility through my work, I depict sexualized female bodies on a potent masculine Islamic scarf.
Sacrilegious? Priscilla wants to drum home the need for the woman to be given her honorable place in a male-dominated society.
Almost all the time in advertisements, female bodies are mostly sexualized. So I'm trying to bring female visibility with my passion and my interest in womanism and then the sexualization of the female nudity.
Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
What an interesting and provocative idea, yeah.
Sexualization of female bodies.
Yeah,
Beyonce does that. I think she knows that she's a woman, so she shouldn't be selling herself to sell her CDs or downloads, etc. I don't know.
Yes, well, I think the idea is that it's almost become accepted and expected that in the arts, women are far too often objectified, you know, rather than, you know, us focusing on their talent. So, for example, does Adele have to strip naked before she can sell millions of records? No. But somehow it would appear that for some other artists, that's the only option. And we don't really portray women in a very respectful manner in music videos either. So I think it's a very provocative idea that this artist is pursuing, putting these rather shocking images on what would be a piece of fabric identified with one of the most pious and chaste religions known to man, which is Islam. I certainly hope she doesn't get any kind of backlash, because I get the point she's trying to make. I hope that if anybody is offended by it, then I guess the message is that nudity and the way we consume it so easily is not a good thing.
Well, as far as we're concerned, in trying to be provocative, pop culture and what the usual avant-garde will be is a trend. And we're hoping that, well, what the lifestyle of other countries and what the transition and what we copy would also be same in trying to provoke the various sections of our society. Well, having lived close to Muslims and many of them being my friends, I thought what she did was a bit provocative.
I think that's the idea. You know, she wants people to see it, be shocked, and then it will make you think, if I don't want to see this on my kafir, then perhaps I shouldn't be enjoying it so easily on my computer. I guess that's the point she's trying to make. Let's hope that the message is received without malice, right?
Well, we hope so too. But we have the review of the newspapers is coming up next. Mama View Samboaje, myself, Kojo Yankson, and then Kofi Joseph Frimpong Akable.
Who, for security reasons.
We're all having great conversations around what are the topical stories, front back pages of the newspapers, as well as myjoyonline.com this morning.